Today we're going to be focusing on a simple practice with this one simple scripture. It comes from Philippians 4:6, and it says this: "Do not worry about anything, but instead pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all that He has already done." You know, often when we're dealing with feelings that are uncomfortable, that cause us anxiety, or we're just feeling chronically worried, it often will show up in our body in some tension around our shoulders and around our neck. In fact, when we're walking through life with this chronic feeling of worry or some level of fear, we'll often kind of hold our bodies in this crouched sort of small way, as if to protect ourselves. And that's understandable. But when we do that, we hold on to a tension and a rigidity in our body that is not optimal. So we're going to move through a flow today that's hopefully going to help open us up, giving us better posture so that we can have even better breathing and circulation and release some of that tension and worry. So we're actually going to start right here where the neck and the shoulders, and if we're already up here and you notice that, I want you to pull those shoulders down. In fact, let's give ourselves just a couple of shoulder rolls, and we're going to inhale on the way up and exhale on the way down. Inhaling and then exhaling as we pull those shoulders away from the ears. And now we're just going to go forward and just give a couple rolls forward. And then we're just going to pause, deep breath in, exhale, mouth open out. Now we're going to inhale in, and then on the exhale, we're going to drop our ear toward our shoulder and just allow that lengthening in the neck. Some of you might already be feeling some of that tension that you may have been holding. And then we're going to draw it in. And on the exhale, drop to the other side. Let's just do a couple more of those, remembering to breathe as you go in and pass through, exhaling as you drop. And exhale. And now maybe you can draw a smile with your chin across the collarbone and just do a couple of those little half circles. And you might even be feeling some of that stickiness in your neck and with your shoulders, and you could even do a full roll if that feels comfortable to you. And now we're going to incorporate our arms. So on the way up, we're going to inhale deeply, hold it, and exhale as our arms come down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale as we release. And now we're going to incorporate a spinal twist. So we're inhaling on the way up, and then we're opening those arms wide, twisting off and gazing toward the back. Exhale. Inhale, come back center. Exhale as we open up. It's the picture of opening up and releasing those fears. And we come back center on our inhale. And now we're going to put all of this back together. So we're going to go inhale, arms up. Exhale with one arm remaining up. We're going to look up to that arm, big side stretch. Exhale, inhale, come up center. Exhaling to the side. Inhale, come up center. And exhale, open twist. Inhale, come up. Exhale, open twist. Inhale, come up, and hands to heart center. And now to continue with that opening up and releasing, we're going to take our arms, spread them out wide, and kiss those shoulder blades in the back, chin up. Inhale, and exhale, we're going to cave our back, and it's as if we're scooping all that air forward. Exhale. Inhale out. Like you're giving the world a big hug, and exhale, push it out. There we go. Inhale up. Exhale forward. One more time. Inhale up. And exhale forward, hands to heart center. Now we're going to come onto our hands and knees in a tabletop position. And in a proper tabletop position, your wrist is going to come directly under your shoulder, not out here in front and not here behind. All right, and same thing, our knee is going to align with the hip, and we're going to tuck in, bring in that navel so we have a nice neutral back. And we're just going to rock our head side to side, making sure that we're releasing any of that tension in the neck. And keeping our shins and our knees exactly where we are, we're just going to push back to a child's pose. Forehead down to the ground, and our chin remains tucked in. And then we're going to drop our navel down toward the earth, inhaling, pushing down on the exhale. This is called cat-cow posture. And you'll often see this as we try to release and lengthen and get the stickiness out of that low back and somewhat into those hips. And now I want you to push back, keeping those shins and hands just where they are, back into that child's pose. Now here where we're in this child's pose, we're going to move to a little bit more of an active child's pose, which just means that we're going to press those finger pads into the yoga mat and actually try to walk them forward, maybe just an inch or maybe even 2, and you're going to feel that lengthening on the side body, maybe even pulling. And you could even practice just taking your forehead and giving it a little bit of a massage into the mat, just rocking it side to side, continuing to breathe and releasing that tension in the low back, which is another place that we do tend to hold that chronic tension. And now keeping your hands exactly where they are, we're going to pull it up and pass through tabletop. And this time we're going to come and we're going to drop into an upward facing dog. This can feel like a little bit of an intense pose perhaps in your lower back. So we're going to drop it down now to a Sphinx pose, where my elbow once again is directly under my shoulder and my fingertips are spread wide and pressed down into the mat. My toes are planted firmly in the ground. You can even give them a little shaky shake there and pat it out. And I want you to just kind of like energetically pull through your mat, pull through the gate of your chest here. And we're going to inhale. And then on the exhale, we're going to drop down and bring our hands to our sides. Again, pulling some of that tension out of our neck, out of our shoulders. We're going to clasp our hands, pulling it through and peeling your upper half of the body up off of the mat. Inhale. Try not to crane your neck. Try to just keep it very neutral. This is a strong pose. Let's move through a couple of breaths, staying right here. And on the exhale, slow and controlled, move it back down. This time on our inhale, we're going to not only peel our upper half of the body, but we're also going to peel our lower half of the body. So you're drilling down into that pelvic area. This is a very strong pose. And it's called compensatory. We're working on that back side of the body that often gets ignored. And then we're going to exhale and come back down. Hands placed directly under your shoulders. We're going to push back up through that upward facing dog. Inhale. And you may notice you have a little bit more length in it this time. All right, we're going to push back into that child's pose. And I just want you to move through this upward facing dog with the inhale. And as you feel ready, pushing back to the child's pose. As you move forward to the upward facing dog, I want you to keep your chin tucked into your neck there and then totally unfold as if you are completely releasing the tension and the worry. And at your own pace, I just want you to move through a few more of these, from child's pose to upward facing dog. Inhaling on the upward facing dog and pushing out the exhale. with the child's pose. As you pass through from child's pose to upward dog, I want you to think about how God tells us to cast our worries upon him. Why? Because it says that he cares for us. So whatever it is that's causing you tension or worry today, release it to him because he cares about you and he cares about that thing or those things that are weighing you down. All right, from here, we're going to press into the ground and I want you to bring your hands out like a wingspan, kind of with your finger pads pressed into the outer sides of the mat. From here, we're going to push through those finger pads and peel the upper half of your body up. And this time, I want you to drop your right shoulder to the ground, looking over to your left, and I'm actually pressing my right cheek into the ground. And here's where you're going to feel that release in that front shoulder blade on your right side. We're just going to hold this just a little bit longer. And then as we pass through the middle and peel up, we're going to inhale and slowly exhale as we drop to the other side, holding it for a couple of rounds of breath. This time we're going to peel up through the center. And once again, we're going to drop our right shoulder, but this time you can remain here. If this feels intense for you and you feel like you're at your edge, just stay right there. Otherwise, you can take this right hand and you can straighten it out to your side, your entire palm planted into the ground. And we're going to pull our left foot in toward our buttocks here, and then we're going to twist over, pushing away from the earth with our left hand and hold. My left foot is actually drilled down into the ground, and this is a really deep stretch for that front part of your right shoulder. We're going to breathe. And as you hold it here, I want you to try to release any tension that you're holding in the rest of your body to try to make this doable. Okay, and we're going to exhale and come right back to the center. Finger pads pressing into the earth. Inhale deeply, and exhale, we drop the lower left shoulder. This time we're going to extend our left arm, hands planted directly into the ground, and I'm pushing away from the earth with my right hand and dropping that right foot onto the opposite side of my body. Just doing a little body scan here and feeling as you continue to breathe in and out, feeling where that tension is. And noticing if you're holding the tension in other places besides that shoulder release, maybe you can bring some awareness to that and allow it to soften. And slowly, as you're ready, move back to center, placing hands directly under your shoulders. Inhale, push up. Exhale. This time we're going to go into downward facing dog. All right, so here's where we're planting those feet into the ground. Maybe you're up on your tippy toes. Either one is okay. And if this is an intense pose for you, you can always soften in your knees or even spread your feet out just a little bit, hip width apart. And from here, we're going to hold this downward dog for a couple more breaths, and you can rock your head back and forth. Shake it yes, shake it no, and maybe even pedal out your feet, right? Where you take turns lengthening just one leg at a time. We call this walking your dog. So you can feel free to do that. And then from here, we're going to keep our hands planted into the ground, and we're going to walk on our tippy toes like a tightrope all the way up to meet our feet. So my toes have come directly behind my hands, and now I'm going to just clasp my elbows and let my head and my back hang softly. And right here we can even do a swing. Just a soft little swing from side to side. This is called ragdoll pose. And it's meant to be a release, a tension release. So if this feels like you're pushing yourself too much, you can spread your legs further apart and even put a little bit more of a bend into your legs. All right, and from here, we're going to press our fingertips into the ground and come halfway up Exhale, come all the way back down, exhaling. And then inhale, strong up, arms up, and hands to heart center, mountain pose. So from here, we're going to move through just a couple of sun A's to complete our practice. So we're going to swing our arms all the way up. Inhale. Exhale, pass your hands through heart center, letting that head hang softly. Pressing in through my finger pads. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, come all the way back down. And from here, you can either step back or you can hop back, whatever's your comfort level, into a plank pose. Remember, I'm keeping my wrists directly under my shoulders, neutral neck and spine, and then exhaling slow and controlled, coming all the way down and pushing back up into that upward facing dog. Inhale. Maybe you've got a little bit more motion here, a little bit more arch in that lower back. And on the exhale, we're going to tuck the toes, push those hips toward the back of the room. And here we are in our nice, strong, inverted, downward facing dog. Now from here, you can come up to your tippy toes, put a slight bend in your knees, and you can either walk toward your hands or you can look forward and launch, do a little jump. Whichever one is your comfort level. Hang with that rag doll one more time. And while we're down here, let's go ahead and take our hands clasping behind us and pulling up so that we're releasing yet again that tension in the shoulders. Keeping our feet right where they are, but dropping our seat back for a chair pose. This is a strong pose. All right, see if you can get just a little bit deeper in your sit. And then we come all the way up. Exhale, hands come heart center. We're going to move through a couple more of those and I will cue your breathing. Here we go. Arms up, inhale. Hands to heart center. Exhale, come down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, come all the way down. Step back or hop back to plank. Exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, come up on your tippy toes. Bend those knees, look forward and walk or hop to the front. Exhale, hang down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center, come down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, come down. Jump or step back to plank. Exhale, lower slowly to the ground. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And on the inhale, walk or hop to the front. One more strong sun A. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, pass through heart center, come down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, come down, hop or step to a plank pose. Exhale, slowly lower to the ground. Inhale, arch up. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to hold this downward facing dog for about 3 good breaths. Inhaling. Exhaling, pushing away from the earth. Strong downward facing dog. We can be strong because the hope that we have in Christ is that is the anchor for our souls. We won't go too far from Him because He does not let go of us. So I want you to exhale and walk your hands back towards your feet. Once again, hanging in that ragdoll